Hello, 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 and welcome to the Mystic Nerd Squad podcast, season 5. We are in our second episode, and I am telling you, these conversations are going to be world changing, life changing. But for you, dear listener, you are going to have a phenomenal opportunity tonight to activate living the best life. So, with me tonight, I have Mama T, and I'm going to read you a little bit about Mama T, and you're going to get excited about what she does. Mama T is an intuitive healer, oracle, and guide. She mentors people in mastering living extraordinary lives by showing them where to take radical self responsibility for their mindset, actions, and frequency to stay in alignment with their desires. Her work creates a community living fulfilled lives, a conscious collective witnessing daily miracles and sharing their joy. This work creates a ripple effect that gives humanity permission to love our lives and each other. We are consciously raising the vibration of ourselves and the world, making Earth the home we all love to live in. And Mama T, I love that your all is a capital all, inclusive, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and for the work that you're doing to raise humanity's consciousness.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Kelly. It's an honor to be here.
I I love that when you filled out the forms and you said, okay, I'm going to come on. And the title for the show is an activation to love your life. And what a beautiful way to start 2025, whether you're
Mm.
team like new year, new you, January 1st, or let's wait till Lunar New Year. And when the human design calendar really kicks in, I love that. I love that for us that January gets to be like a DIY. How are you going to love your life and get excited about what's to come for the new year?
Yes. So for me, I feel like it already started prior to 2025 happening. I was in a program called the God Zone, and it really kind of activated me in how I am like looking at the world and making sure that I'm looking through a lens of gratitude and love. All right. I live in LA, and right now it's kind of crazy going on over here. And so being able to really settle in amongst all of the craziness happening and be able to say, you know what, I am thankful. I'm
Mm,
thankful for my home. I'm thankful to be able to help out my friends that I can help out in ways that I can help. Thankful for the ability to have healing energy and being able to send that out into the world, not just for my LA community, but for the world at large. And so being able to look at the world from a perspective of, I get to do this. I get to share my gifts. I get to love my life, even in the times when is struggle, even in the times where I look at my bank account and it's not what I need it to be. Even in those times, I can stop and still see the beauty. And
mm.
that is where our personal power is.
That is amazing. I love that so much. And I love that idea of holding space for the dichotomy, for there to be struggle and trials and immense joy, and a bank account that doesn't reflect what we want it to be, and the excitement and potential of work that's coming towards us. So, how do we get into that space, even in times of struggle, especially in times of struggle, where our reflex is not to go down doom and gloom, but to hit gratitude hard? How do we do that?
Hmm. Awareness is the key. It is the beginning. It is our power. It is our portal. So, for example, this morning I woke up, my internet was down, and I had multiple interviews to do today, a live stream, all of these things planned. And I was like, my internet's down. And I could have gone into the space of like, oh my God, the internet's down. Nobody, the universe is trying to tell me that I'm a failure and I shouldn't be doing this and I need to stop this work and go get a real job. And I could have gone down that path, but I chose to really like sit and be in my soul. And I know, like, I already know what my knowing is. I know that I'm meant to do this. I know that these things happen as well. And I also know that I had like an hour and some change before my first interview to call my internet provider and make and see, is it like, a one-off thing? Can they turn it on? And you know what? I'm in a gratitude knowing that one, their customer service is fantastic. And I know that they'll get it turned on eventually. And you know what? I also know that I have an unlimited data plan. And so I can figure it out even if I have to. I don't have to cancel. I don't have to shift things around. I can make it work. I already know this. I already know what my power is. So though that's what I'm talking about is really we sometimes have this opportunity to make sure that we know what our true truth is, right? Is it true that, God is always conspiring in our favor? Because that's what I like to believe, right? So if God's always conspiring in my favor, if that's my truth, then I know that whatever I have planned to do that is in soul alignment for me, even if something shows up, it's just an opportunity for me to flex my personal power muscles. And
Mm.
that's what it is. And so I bring awareness into those moments. I say, you know what? Take a breath, Tiara. Calm down. We've got this and let's move forward. Let's come up with a solution and everything is always working out for me.
Yes, everything is always working out for me. I love that as an affirmation. That is one that I've used in the past. And I love what you said in the beginning. I get to. I think that reframe can be such a powerful flex. If you're feeling
Yes.
like, oh, I have to get up and I have to go to work and I get to go to work. I get to collect that paycheck at the end of 2 weeks. I get to help people. And when we use that lens and that frame of looking at life, uh, I feel like you open yourself up to wonder and so much more possibility.
Exactly. And it's actually one of the steps in the work that I do. So I have an Activate Your Inner Shift activation series. It's free for people to tap into. It's on my website. And all you have to do is put your email address in there, your name, and then hit the submit button, and you'll get emailed access. And it's four short videos, 15 minutes each. And it kind of goes through these little steps of how do you do this mindset work? How do you know what your knowing is? How do you acknowledge yourself? How do you reframe these moments? How do you release these moments when they show up? Because it's easy to be like, "Oh, I'm in perfect meditation space and everything is in alignment and everything's going great." But what happens when you're like having your meditation moment and your partner or a child or a pet just comes zooming into the room and interrupts you? Like, does that mean that you shouldn't be meditating, or can you be like, "You know what? These things happen." And laugh it off and allow. And the laughter is a great practice to really release and shake that energy off. Just like if you ever think of, I mean, I grew up in Virginia, so that's very deer country during the fall, and I have many a times driven down the road and seen a deer run through the street. And you know what they do? If they make it across the street, they shake their body out after having such a crazy, experience of almost getting hit by a car, and then they move on and go eat some grass, right? And so
Mhm.
we as humans can have those kind of moments where we have this like trigger, if you will, and then figure out how can we like shake it off, release, and move forward. And everybody has their own way to regulate their system. Maybe it's dancing, maybe it's screaming into a pillow, singing, whatever it is, but we just shake ourselves and then put ourselves back into our power and move forward.
Mm. That is so beautiful. I was actually sort of envisioning, somebody cuts you off and you're driving, and what you want to do is chase them down and try to cut them. Obviously, we're not going
Oh
to
yeah.
do this. This is not a good idea. not in LA and not in New Jersey. Okay. So,
Nope.
so instead, like I'm envisioning like literally just like hitting like a little Taylor Swift and being like, I'm shaking it off and moving on. And maybe imagining that the people who see me in my car shaking it off are like, what is she doing? And that could be funny, you know? And I like that. I like that piece of finding the humor in those moments. I'll share, I had a meeting planned today for, a couple hours before our meeting, and I was like a little on the later side, leaving work to get home on time, got home, and I wasn't really stressing about it. I was kind of like, you know what? If it so happens that I pull into my driveway and it's time for the meeting, I'm just pulling it up on my phone and we're having a meeting on my phone and it's fine. And I got in and I logged on to Zoom and then, or I couldn't log on to Zoom. And I was trying to figure out what is going on? Why is this not working? I didn't get mad. I got curious. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Did I make a mistake? And then I was like, oh no. I'm like, let me create a new one. Let me email it to the person. And in the meantime, when I went into my email, I saw that the person had changed the date last minute for a date in the future. And I was like, okay, cool. And maybe in the past, I would have been like, well, that's rude. We had an appointment. We planned this a while ago. They canceled on me. And I thought to myself, you know what? That means I'm going to go relax a little bit, have some dinner with my family. And it gets to be more about, wow, I just earned myself a half hour of free time I didn't know I was going to have. And I'm just going to use that time and no harm, no foul. There's no need to feel angry or upset. Obviously, being discourteous, not great business practice, but it can also be okay, right?
Yes, 100% it can be okay. And kind of going back to, that, or even going back to the driving situation, I always like to think about it like that person really had to pee. Like I know. And so creating it like a funny moment. And, you know, when someone changes something, especially if they don't send a message, it's just like you never know. Something big could have happened in their family. I don't know until they tell me. So let's go give them the benefit of the doubt. And then again, that perfect reframe. Because I have found most of the time when any time, like whether it is I was supposed to be meeting with a mentor or a client or whatever it may be, and something gets shifted around last second, one, am probably tired, or like there's something that's happening where I can look at it and be like, you know what? Actually, I really glad to have this hour back for myself. I'm really glad that I can meditate right now, or I'm really glad that I actually get to eat, or maybe I've had back to back to back meetings and I'm the one that needs to pee. So like there's always something to like look at from the lens of gratitude.
Mm, I love that so much. And I think that's such an easy practice for people to put into place to say, I get to shake it off, to, really appreciate those moments when they show up and to be so present in our lives. I think that's a piece of it too, that sense of being present in the moment and be available for that. So whether it's tuning into your internal need to use the bathroom or get a glass of water, or did I actually eat more than just a snack today? Or realize that you get to flex into having time for something else. And maybe it's something that brings you a lot of joy. So that's a little extra joy in your day.
Exactly. Uh, I feel called to share. So before I was doing my spiritual work, I was actually working in a wine business, and I used to go live on Facebook every single day. I went live on Facebook every day for like maybe 3 years straight. It was insane. And I started doing some dual lives with a really good friend of mine, and I would go to her house sometimes, and we would do these lives. And she had small children, and in the beginning of like my going live journey, I would do all of these different programs and talk to different people, and they talked about how it needed to be pretty and how it needed to be set up and all of this stuff. And what I found to be even more engaging and more fun was when you just allow life to happen. You're live, it's going to get recorded. There's no editing. It's out there to the world. And so when her small children would run up and like I would come in sometimes and they would like completely ignore me, completely ignore me and go off into the room. But the second we'd hit the live button, that's when they want attention. And they like jump into my lap and hop on the screen and say hello. And I feel like those were some of the best moments. Yes, we're talking about wine. Yes, we're like having more of an adult conversation. And then these littles are like, hey, what's up? We're here. We want to play too. And it was so beautiful to me when I look back in those moments because you know what? That was probably 3, 4 years ago now, and they're not the same size anymore. They're not doing the same things anymore. So these are moments where we can really like be present. Like I could have chosen to be angry and be like, "Oh my gosh, they just ruined our life again." Da, da, da. No, but I was just like, "They're great. I love it. Get in my lap. Let's chat. Let's have fun and make it about being together." Because that's really, regardless of when I was selling wine or now that I'm more spiritual, I still do love my wine. It's all about connection,
Yeah.
connection and being present in the moment and having fun. A big part of my branding then was like really bringing the family together. That was like not just like, oh, it tastes good, but also like this is an opportunity to come together as a family and connect and talk and enjoy this glass. Like that's what I think of. I think of laughter and fun, and I think of laughter as medicine. And so what's more fun than being with the ones that you love? And so when we can kind of push ourselves away from like this is what it's supposed to be like, this is what the strategy is, this is like the whole like hardcore analytical side of things and allow it to be like a beautiful menagerie, like a wonderful painting, being in flow, having more fun. That is where you activate loving your life when you can fully be present moment to moment with anyone that comes in that shakes things up outside of what you thought the day is going to be. That is what's going to bring you the mystery and the joy and the fun and the surprises.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I love that. I feel like that's the kind of content that I want to consume too. Like I want to know when I'm watching somebody on a live, like if they're having a bad hair day and they just rock it, or if somebody comes into the picture and they have like a laugh moment about it because it happens. It's realistic, and that's why I don't actually edit my podcast. Not so much because, well, partially because I don't want to take the time to do it. I'm a manifesting generator, and like that extra time to do that just does not jive with my design. But it's also because I feel like a conversation isn't something that you edit and take snippets from. You experience the whole thing, you know, whether somebody has a coughing fit or they say the wrong word or they laugh or, you know, it doesn't really matter to me because it's real. It's the existence of something that actually occurred and the realness. And so that's why I don't want to edit it out. It doesn't seem I'm not a TV producer nor pretending to be one. It's just me doing my podcast, having conversations with people who I'm interested in having conversations with. And I guess that's the exciting part about being an entrepreneur. We get to choose our own journey and really decide what the rules are and what they aren't. For me, the rule is not that it needs to be a perfectly edited piece, it just needs to be a really meaningful conversation where somebody gets to share from their heart.
Exactly. I'm the same way. I really believe that energy is everything. So if someone is not jiving with like the edited cut or the unedited cut, the rawness of the image or the sound, then they're not your person, right? They can go to another podcast and find what it is that they are looking for. But the people that are meant to hear your message and be tapped into your energy, they are going to be there regardless of what shows up and what happens on the podcast. When I started mine, I actually I would be driving. I worked for a distributor at the time, and I would have these downloads, and I would open the memo section of my phone and just record these downloads that I was having, and I would upload it to my podcast. Maybe throw a little background music on it to like kind of jive it up a little bit. But honestly, I would be like, you know what? This needs to be here. Like I'm having this amazing conversation with myself as I'm driving 45 minutes to this place and sitting in traffic. People need to hear this. And so I'm getting it out the best way that I can. And that's what I would do.
Oh my God, I love that so much. I could totally relate. I don't know what it is about like getting in the car and like getting into traffic. All of a sudden, I just start with all these ideas. I'll regularly I'm opening up like the notes app and just dictating whatever the heck is coming out of me onto the notes app to go back to later because I definitely once I park, like it's gone. It's just that moment in time. It's like getting in the shower. That's why I finally had to get like shower notes because I get all these great ideas and I'm like, I need to be able to write them down. I can't be bringing my phone into the shower with me.
100%. I totally resonate with that.
Oh my God. I feel like I should say, hey, listener, whoever emails me after this podcast and mentions shower notes, I will send you a pad of shower notes. I will do that because they are life changing. Let me tell you, from like trying to like reach outside the shower curtain to plug something in your phone to just being able to, they actually like adhere to the wall. You have your little pencil that you can write. You could take them in the bath. You could write in the rain. Anyway, they don't give me any money for this, but they should. But I'm serious. If you listen to this, the first person to email me shower notes, I will send you some shower notes.
I love that. That is extraordinary.
All right. Oh my gosh, I'm writing myself a note about the shower notes because I'll be like, what is the shower note? That's how my brain works sometimes. What are they talking about? The shower notes? So
Perfect.
I I love this all so much. And I feel called, I have this question that I'm going to be asking all of my guests. I feel called to ask you this now because I think it might influence our conversation as we go forward. So I'm feeling a lot of the theme of authenticity in the spiritual world and solo entrepreneurs, and just in like how people are choosing to live their lives. So, what does it mean to embrace your authentic voice? What does
Mm.
that mean to you?
It means honoring my soul and following my intuition. That's
Mm,
what it means to me. And it sounds so simple, but I can tell you from my own personal experience, there are some times when I have like the soul nudge, and then immediately my mind will tell me something else. Like, it could be, oh, I don't know, I should go live right now. I feel called to go live right now. It's 2 a.m. No one's gonna watch. Like it could be as quick as that. And, it is the awareness of when those moments happen that we need to reel ourselves back in and be like, okay, yes, thank you, mind, for that situation. But who knows? Maybe that soul nudge is trying to get you, maybe not 100 people watching you while you're live, but maybe there's one person that's awake that really needs to hear what you have to say. And we're also living in a world where there's multiple time zones. So it's not 2 a.m. for every single person in the entire world. Let's get up, let's do what we got to do and go for it, right? And so that's my authenticity. Authenticity is really leaning into following those soul nudges, listening to my intuition.
yeah, I love that so much. I think we get so many of those soul nudges, like you call them, and our mind can jump in so fast. I don't know how fast it is, but I'm thinking of Mel Robbins, and she talks about the 5 second rule where you plan to do something and you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before your brain can convince you otherwise. So, for example, not hitting the snooze button and getting right out of bed. But it's making me think like we have such a short period of time before our mind starts to get involved. I know I have an open head and ajna, so it's not just my own mind, but like everybody else's thoughts and ideas and concepts all floating in there. So I tend to take those soul nudges and like take them like as quickly as possible into my heart. Do they resonate or do they not? Um, Otherwise, the thinking and overthinking can just go in a cycle.
I feel you there. I too have an open mind. So I totally resonate with that.
Yeah. Open-minded as in like open-minded, want to hear everything and all the things. And it gets very loud in there sometimes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. When I hear of people that are like, yeah, I don't really think to myself or talk to myself in my mind, I'm like, what is that like? That sounds so lovely.
Yeah, it does. And it's so funny because until I really understood my human design and had really been through a bunch of different frames of reference in terms of how to do meditation, I was like, how am I supposed to do this? There is not silence and peace ever up here. There's a constant narration. I wake up in the middle of the night and like it's like, oh, hello again, here we go. And like there's just a literal continuation of a stream of consciousness. I think there's a really funny reel that's like a little piece from Gilmore Girls, and it's the mom talking about what's going on in her mind, and she's like, "Squirrel, monkey, underpants, underpants. Am I wearing clean underpants?" Like, and she just goes into this whole thing, and I'm like, "That is that. Yes, that's it. Like the tangent." And sometimes you are talking to someone, and then you're thinking, and then you talk like the 10th level tangent, and they're like, "I how." Did you go from there to there? And you're like, well, let me see if I can retrace my steps and put all those words together again. But I choose to look at it as hysterical. And I have plenty of conversations with myself because there's always somebody in there, some stream of consciousness that is either my own collective. I don't know where it all comes from, to be honest.
Yes, I love it. My best friend would talk about it, the fact like as I'm talking, and I also use my hands a lot when I speak. And what he's found to make me like kind of focus in is if he grabs my hands while I'm talking, it kind of short circuits the like all of the spirals because I'm like da 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 da. Oh, and then this thread, and then this thread, and then this thread, and I'm talking, and he's like, "You've gone in so many different directions. I have no idea where we are in the map, and I don't know what's happening." But here you go.
There you go. Allow me to ground you, or at least attempt. But
Attempt to ground. Yeah.
yeah, I've learned to just make friends with that. Like, and I don't know what I'd do if there was no constant narration of things up there. I think I'd be like, wait, is everything okay? Why am I hearing anything? And I probably wouldn't last very long. I'd start the thinking or start speaking. Um, but I I'm choosing to find some of these little nuances that could be a little bit of a nuisance, um, just like endearing. Like it's such a specific piece of who I am. And really, the experience is all mine. Like people aren't in my head to hear that. But um, I'm like, isn't that kind of cool that that's part of who I am? And I get to just embrace that and say, that's just part of who I am. It's a piece of me.
Exactly. It's a part of you, and it helps you cultivate your own unique medicine to offer up to the world.
Yeah, it makes me an incredibly good listener because you literally cannot overwhelm me with information. I want to know all the details. I have a very good friend of mine, and we laugh because when we see each other, we literally info dump all the things going on, and we both love the info dump. Like, just tell me everything. I want to know all the things, every detail, where you've been, what you've been doing, and you can just stream of consciousness, spill it out, and I'm going to take it all in. I love it. So it's a gift. It's a gift to give and a gift to receive. It
Exactly. It's epic.
is epic. So I love that. And I love who you are in your authenticity. And I think the really cool thing about that is the more that we start to sit in our authenticity, the more our gifts really are revealed. So one of your gifts is an oracle, being an oracle,
Mhm.
being able to read people. How did you discover that was your gift?
I I guess to have the words for it became came in as an adult. But I would say if I really were to think about it, I kind of naturally had this gift growing up. I was once described as a chameleon, being able to kind of like shift my personality and how I talk to different people just because I could recognize someone's energy. So if I'm like too like what like bubbly, crazy or whatever, I just naturally tone it down to with people that don't really resonate with that, or vice versa. If someone else is bubbly, then I can do that as well. And so looking back as a child, I definitely kind of just gravitated towards being able to switch, and not in an inauthentic way, just like I have a wide spectrum of personality and I'm able to kind of adjust based on the energy that I'm feeling around in the room. And so that was something that I feel like was a superpower. And as I got older and I got into the world of spirituality and learning about, oh, this isn't just like a normal thing that people do. I was able to cultivate an even deeper relationship with reading and understanding the tarot and oracle readings. And I actually came into that space through getting my Reiki master teacher certification. And I luckily it was divine, honestly, divinely guided because my Reiki master teacher just really loved tarot and decided that they wanted to have their Reiki practitioners learn tarot. And so I was able to be participate in a tarot circle and practice, and I immediately just gravitated towards it and started reading for myself every day and recognizing all of the many manifestations that were coming through, the synchronicities of the words that were coming from me, and especially words that I don't naturally use in my daily speech as I was, speaking things out loud. And I was like, I don't even know where that came from. So obviously there's something channeling through. And so in the group, I would share in like the Facebook group, okay, this is what's coming through for me for this meaning, and then able to read for other people. So I was able to get confirmation from others if it resonated with them, if it was on point, if I was, channeling something from like our future self. I would have people be like, "Oh my gosh, you said that this would happen and then that this happened. So you were so right." And so those moments really helped to build my confidence in the work that I do. And I just continue to do it. And I will say, in getting started from that perspective, not everybody was supportive of the work, regardless of if they were someone that practiced themselves or they knew nothing about the work. So there were those who knew nothing, and from a place of fear and wanting to make sure that I was protected, they tried to discourage me from it. And then I had those who had been practicing for ages who were like, you can't be this confident in it. You haven't had the experience. And so I would encourage those listening that if you find something that you are feeling called to, you have an affinity for, keep going, keep doing it. I will say that I stepped back. Like I stepped back on offering it as a paid offer for myself and my business because of the people who said that I didn't have enough experience, and I listened to them rather than listening to my soul. And that goes back to that listening to your soul nudges and just doing what you feel called, regardless of what other people are telling you. And then on the other side, when someone tries to put their own beliefs on you that are against what it is that you are doing, remember that they're coming from a place of love. And that's something that I always had to remind myself. It's just like they're coming from a place of love. They might not have the information that you do. Their truth is their truth, and your truth is your truth. And I like to look at it as I have the capacity to believe that all truths are here and abundant because it's somebody else's perspective. And I can't make someone else's perspective shift or change unless they are wanting me to assist them in that journey.
I think that's such a beautiful point and such a timely point because it's we're 8 billion people on the planet, right? So
Mhm.
the possibility not only potentially exists, but definitely exists that we're going to have differing truths. And I think there's a big difference between getting to the point of acceptance, like acceptance with a capital A, that other people who have a varying perspective to yours are experiencing that as a truth for them, while you are experiencing what you're experiencing as a truth for you. And a lot of our stress can be alleviated by just recognizing that and that they can all experience at the same time. It's sort of bewildering, right? This idea that we're all experiencing a different variation in truth, but there's never going to be a way for us to convince others that their truth is not true for them. And that is not an exercise we need to invest our time and energy in.
Exactly. Like I said, your energy is everything. And so, one of the things that I really focus on for myself is making sure that my energy is clean and pure for myself and my beliefs, and letting that be my guiding point. And when others, are triggering, it's like, okay, well, that's something that I like to think of it more as, okay, well, that's triggering. Um, why is this triggering for me? Getting curious, as you said earlier, right? Why is this triggering? Is it triggering because it's going against what I believe, and now I feel like my belief is wobbling, and I need to reevaluate? Or is it triggering because I know what my truth is, and I'm standing in conviction for my truth, and so I'm now just uncomfortable with them not witnessing my truth? And if it's the latter, then I can say, you know what? I don't need I don't need them to witness it. I don't need it. All right. This is the awareness I'm bringing to the moment, and I can have joy and gratitude because I already know that you can find evidence for anything in this world if that is what your perception is, right? You can have evidence of being a failure if you want to look at yourself as a failure, or you can have evidence of you being successful if you want to look at yourself as successful. All right. So it's whatever you want to tune your frequency to.
Wow. I wrote that down because the idea there is evidence to prove anything. So if that's the case, let's be choosy with what we want to prove, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
I love that. And I really it really inspires me to feel like I need to keep the energy clean and that I can only be responsible for my own and everybody is responsible for their own and that's sovereignty, right? So yeah, I love that so much. Evidence exists for everything. So there's no argument. We're not going to stand at a podium and debate. It's not debate club. What it is for you is what it is for you. What it is for me is what it is for me. And I think that's also where the collective energy is going towards that individuality that we
Mhm.
get to be standing on our own 2 feet, our authentic selves, and that there's no need for the boxes anymore, which is kind of scary for a lot of people. You know, that we can't be pigeonholed into one thing or one place, you know? I choose to see it as I think it's pretty freaking cool. You know, what that gets to be if everybody is embracing their authentic self.
Exactly. It's your secret sauce that you get to add to this like recipe of life. And I think it's really important that we take the time to get to know our true selves so that we can experience that and carry that with us from moment to moment and meet new people and giving ourselves permission to explore and learn and fall down and get back up again and live life, like truly live life, giving ourselves that permission also gives other people permission because we start to witness like, wait a minute, if Kelly can do it, I can do it. If Mama T can do it, I can do it. Or sometimes people are like, well, they can do it, they must have something different. But yeah, and we do. We do have something different, but you have something different too. And your different is what's going to move you forward and make you shine and connect with other people. That's the magic. That's the medicine that we all have.
Yeah, I completely agree. And how much fun is it going to be over the next few years as we see people embracing themselves and having the bravery and courage to stand up and be who they are? And you know what? Being who you are also gets to change as you decide it's going to change and as you learn and as you grow. So, giving ourselves permission to be on that journey and to be open to where it takes us. Who I am, today versus a year ago or 6 months ago or even 3 months ago is a different person. What I've been informed by, who I've spoken with, all of those things have informed who I am and who I'm becoming. And honestly, it's only getting better and better. How about for you?
Oh yeah, better and better every single day. I'm like, I'm not even the same person I was 5 minutes ago. Just like we have these opportunities to recognize our power. We have these opportunities, some even just being on this episode, for example, I'm like some kind of listening to myself as I'm speaking, and I'm like, man, I've grown in the last like since the last time I was on somebody else's podcast and having the opportunity to showcase myself rather than showcasing someone else. And so it's extraordinary what we can allow ourselves to experience when we choose to do so.
Yeah. And give ourselves permission. There's nobody giving permission slips out. You need to just like get out your notepad, put the date on, to whom it may concern. I give myself permission to do whatever the heck I want and to write my own rules. You can literally do that.
Exactly.
I actually recommend that you do. I think it's a great thing to do because you can really filter out in that, writing without even really thinking about it. Just write down in your journal, what do I get to do because I give myself permission to do? I give myself permission to sit for 5 minutes and meditate. I give myself permission to dance in the kitchen. I give myself permission to ignore the bad advice that people give me. I give myself permission to drive in the right lane of traffic and go at the speed limit because I just don't feel like being caught up in the rat race. Whatever the rules are for you, you get to pick. How fun is that? Nobody taught me that
It's
in
so fun.
school. How about you, Mama T?
Not definitely not in school. And I think like the big one for me is I give myself permission to love my life because
Mm,
I learned kind of through example of witnessing other people. And I found a lot of people really like to talk about their life through the lens of what's going wrong, what's not happening for me, what have I yet to achieve, and not in a I'm gonna be a millionaire or I'm gonna do like not in that regard, but more like I still didn't get the promotion. And there was always this heaviness to the perspective of life. And I started to feel kind of like weird. Like I'm like, well, I like get to go on vacation every year and I get to do this and I get to do that. But now I feel like I'm bragging and boasting if I say like I really like my life. Like, is that okay? And I really want to give permission to people to, you know what, you get to love your life, even in the downs and the ups. Like I love my life. This is the life that I'm living right here, right now, whether you believe in reincarnation or not. Like right now, this is the life that we're living, and give yourself permission to enjoy it.
mm,
Enjoy the flowers as you like go for a walk. Enjoy the I don't know, if you're in the gym, the smell of the sweat, I don't just, enjoy, find something to love about it. Enjoy the burn in your body as you're doing those squats, enjoy the strength you're giving yourself. Enjoy these moments. Enjoy cooking. I think cooking was the one that really helped me kind of reframe, starting with something small and then bringing it to the full lens of life. So for me, cooking was kind of like if I'm just cooking for myself, it's just this thing that I do to feed my body, and I don't want to do it, and I'm tired. And I would talk to myself like that. And then I got into my mind that I want to romance my life more. And so it was like, all right, I'm going to have fun chopping these vegetables. How can I add more color to my plate? How can I make this plate look pretty? And so in doing that, I had more fun, even if it was just for myself. Sometimes I would share with other people. Sometimes I would share it online. So like, other people get to see it. But I made cooking fun for me. And as someone that's a little more witchy, I would be like, oh, what correspondences am I putting into this meal? Like, this is going to heal my body in this way. And so being able to look at it through that perspective really gave an elevated experience to just cooking and having
Mhm.
fun with it. And so now I'm even like I like to call them my goddess meals. Like, ooh, I'm gonna make myself a goddess breakfast this morning. I'm gonna make myself a goddess brunch, and it's gonna just feel so good, and it's going to nourish my body, and I'm gonna have fun with it, and I'm going to love it.
Oh, I love that so much. And I love that it's bringing like the magical to the mundane. So we don't have to feel like everything is a chore. I used to think that about laundry. I actually look forward to laundry. I love doing laundry. I know that might sound like a crazy thing, but I feel gratitude that I have a washer and dryer in my house. I feel gratitude for clothes that I get to wash. I just nerd out on like taking something from the beginning to the end. So from the dirty clothes to like the clean clothes getting put away in the drawers. It just feels like such a beautiful way to nourish myself and to make the week flow so much more easily, knowing that every day we can wake up and have fresh, clean clothes to wear. It's fun for me. And it used to not be. So to me, that just speaks to the possibility of reframing things. And I love how you shared that with cooking, that you were like, ah, it's something I have to do. It's just me. To like, I get to cultivate these delicious meals that are nourishing my body and I'm having fun doing it. And it gets to be as enjoyable as possible. And there's no way in doing that that we're not in the present moment and just savoring our life, literally, in your case, with your goddess meals.
Exactly. Really being present and intentionality. And so I love layering in, like you said, the magic to the mundane, from brushing my teeth and looking in the mirror and telling myself how amazing I am, to making the goddess meals, to finding ways, okay, like I got to get my sweat in today. What am I going to do? Is it going to be fun? Am I going to lift and like get out any like anger or frustration, or am I going to dance it out and sing and have a good time? Whatever lights me up in that moment.
I love that. Following what lights you up. And we get to do that. And by the way, there's nothing in the rules that says that you can't delegate the things you hate to do. I know people who send
Hmm.
their laundry out. I know people who do a capsule wardrobe so they have less clothes to worry about. I know people who do meal services, who eat out. It is totally fine to pick what works for you, and it doesn't have to be the same as anybody else. That especially goes for people who are caregivers for other people. If you have a family, like, you do what works for your family and don't worry if it matches what anybody else does. It's all about being functional. Having a little fun, I think, is special, especially, for yourself and for others. Um, and everybody's safe, healthy, well. we're taking care of ourselves and each other. So if you can delegate things, delegate things. If you don't like to do them, we're allowed to choose. We're adults. We get to pick things that we like to do, you know? So I think that give yourself permission for that too.
Yes,
I don't
most definitely. So
iron.
thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, I don't iron. It never brought me joy. I don't buy clothes that need
Mhm.
to be ironed. On the very, very rare occasion that I need something ironed, I just ask my husband to do it. He's very good at it. And I just don't. I just took it out. It's not in my vocabulary.
I love it, right? And there it is. It's giving yourself permission to lean more into the things that you love, reframe the things that you want to love, and delegate the things that you don't.
Yeah. And I love you used a great word before. You said romanticize my life. And I think that is such a fun intention for 2025. How can you romanticize your life? Not gloss it over and make it look like something it's not, but literally find the romance. Find like the song that's playing in the background while you're going for a walk in your neighborhood or whatever it is that you're doing, finding some way to just feel such joy and bliss in that moment.
Exactly. That's literally what it is. Whether you are having a self-care moment and putting rose petals in your bathtub and making it like super romantic with the candles and everything, or you're simply looking through the lens of, ah, I'm driving to work today and I'm going to put on my favorite playlist and I have my favorite hot beverage with me, and this is just going to be lovely. And today, I am making today the best day ever. You can, whatever it is that you're doing, how can you lean into this is magical for me?
Yes. Oh my gosh. This has been such a fantastic conversation. I am so excited about all the things I'm going to be romanticizing in my life for the rest of today and tomorrow. So, but for the listener, how can they connect with you, Mama T? Where is the best place to follow you? And what do you have coming up that people might be excited to witness or participate in?
Oh, I love this question. So people can tap into my content on Mama T Energy. It's my podcast that is streaming on all the major podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. There is Mama T Energy on TikTok. For as long as TikTok exists in the United States, whatever's happening with that is all perfect. Instagram is also Mama T Energy. I am Tiara Janae on Facebook. And where else? What do we have coming up? So I have a beautiful group that is unfolding called the Miracle Mastermind. So if anyone is interested in really diving into this work, diving into the reframing, getting some group coaching and connecting with like-minded individuals, the Miracle Mastermind is a sacred space for you. I offer private sessions for energy healing, for tarot reading, and for private ritual. So you can book those on my website, mamateenergy.com. I am holding space for someone to join me in one-on-one mentorship for the entirety of 2025. So if that feels like something that you would be called to tap into, you can email me at mastery@mamateenergy.com. And you know, tap into my content. I do have a feeling that there's going to be something coming in around teaching or training in the tarot, as well as some full moon circles coming forward in 2025. So definitely keep a lookout for those things as well.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I love that. I will say I have done my due diligence and checked out a lot of Mama T's offerings, and they are phenomenal. I'm sure you got a sense from our conversation what kind of energy she brings. She just gave me so much energy. I got to go find something good to do with all of this. But I really highly recommend you hop in, check out some of her podcast episodes, and consider the Miracle Mastermind. I adore you so much, Mama T. I feel like from like New Jersey to LA, we're like filtering all this good energy right across the country and extend it around the world. And we're going to make such a big difference in the world by just living our lit up lives. So make sure you have taken this activation and you are finding those subtle and not so subtle ways to love your life. I look forward to hearing more about what you have coming up this year, Mama T. And I thank you so much for your authentic self showing up today. This was phenomenal. Any last words for the listener?
You know what? I don't have words, but I'm gonna pull a card for the
Perfect.
listener. So I'm gonna pull a card from the Light Seers Tarot deck. Let's
Love that.
see what spirit brings forward. Ooh. This card has been a theme for this year. And so the card is the Tower card. And so for those who might not be familiar with tarot, and with the tower is a reflection that things are shifting, things are crumbling, breaking down. What we have built may not be not even may, but what we have built is not no longer serving us. So this is your invitation to really looking at your life, right? Looking at anything that we just talked about how can we dismantle the struggle, dismantle the way that we look at life through the lens of not good enough, not fun enough, and really reframe it in a way that builds up our perspective to something that we love, leaning into loving your life. So this tower is again confirmation that we got to let go of what's not working, let go of what we thought to be our truth, that doesn't lead us into a way that feels in alignment, that feels happy for ourselves, and give ourselves permission to love life.
Oh my gosh. That's a phenomenal card. I'm so excited about that. And I think what's really cool is in numerology, 2025 is a 9 year, and the nine is also about letting things go. So that's a really great theme. Yeah. So cleaning, clearing, clutter in the head, clutter in your environment, and allowing the crumbling and that it's all going to be okay, that it's all for our best and highest good. Oh my gosh, Mama T, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for that beautiful card reading. Um, I'll be sure in the show notes to recommend that people stay through to the end so they get the card reading because I think that that will have a lot of meaning for so many people.
Most definitely. Thank you so much for having me, Kelly. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. All right, everyone. That's it for us today. And remember, stay curious. You never know what you're going to find out about. Take care.